Hey, yo, it's me. It's not DDP, it's the RVE. What's up, everyone? The RVE here doing a solo HeelCast show, just like the Exalted Dude himself did earlier this week. So just to put out a little bit more content, we're doing two different shows. The gang was not able to really get together this week. But as far as the HeelCast goes, as you know, at least I hope you know, you've always been able to check us out on impactasylum.net. Now you can also check us out on Wrestling with Wrestling as well, ran by the notorious Andre Corbeil. So check out the Wrestling with Wrestling page, subscribe to Andre Corbeil, and also check out Andre Corbeil himself, see all the stuff that he does. Andre's been at this for a long time, one of the best, if not the best in the entire business, so check him out. As far as the HeelCast goes, I mean, check out our show from last week, which was a great show. Also check out Larkin and Hurls. They did an interview with wrestler Mario Bocara in a phenomenal, unexpected interview. Tales of heartbreak, triumph, anxiety, depression, success, all of it in there. Let's put some respect on Mario Bocara's name. Check out that interview because I promise it's something you do not want to miss. And let's get this guy a shot at the big leagues one more time. Also, check out the show that I mentioned earlier. It was either the AEW dude or the Dark Order dude or the Exalted. Or, you know what? It doesn't matter what his name is. Just know your role, shut your mouth, and go check out his show that he did solo yesterday. I'm following it up the next day. So be sure to check that out as well. We got plenty of HeelCast content as we are not letting this fail like we did last time. We're keeping it going. So as far as the rest of the HeelCast goes, check out our boy FK9, the Killer of Fools. He's not really reviewing wrestling anymore, although we want to have him on the show soon. He's just blown up with damn near 30,000 followers if he hasn't eclipsed that already. Our boy Larkin, who's doing the S&M show, the official podcast of the LFC. And if there's a fat woman that's been fucked on camera, Larkin interviews her too, so check that out. Also check out our buddy Kyle over at with the Total Nonstop Impact podcast off of BQ's Impact Lounge. So I want to say what's up to BQ. What's up, buddy? But let's hop into the news. Hello, ladies. That's right. The big Val Boski was back in the news this past week. Val Venus came out and kind of criticized Impact and AEW, talking about how we have a women's world champion in Impact Wrestling. A man is the women's champion in AEW and saying asked what had happened to the business that he loved. Val Venus has taken a lot of heat for this, including Cody Rhodes coming out and saying that, you know, he's not going to book Val in AEW, which is all Val was trying to do. I'm going to keep it real here, man. Like, Val Venus said the truth. He said what's on a lot of people's minds. And in this day and age, unfortunately, even though we live in a free society and country, we're not actually really allowed to come out and say that. I agree wholeheartedly with Val. And now people are calling him transphobic and whatnot. I think you need to realize what a phobia and phobic is. Nothing Val is saying that he's afraid of trans people at all. He actually even said that he supported Nyla Rose. He just doesn't understand where this is going. And I got to say, I mean, I tip my hats off to the big Val Boski. It's literally ludicrous. It's ridiculous. It's delusional if you think Tessa Blanchard could beat these men. I mean, Nyla Rose should be able to destroy all of these women. She is a man. So it's just, look, I'm leaving it at that. I'm tired of discussing this topic. Nyla Rose was talking about how Val Venus is irrelevant, but I'm going to just be honest here. Val Venus has done more in this business than Nyla has. You know, Val Venus was the Intercontinental and European champion back when those titles had merit and prestige. Val Venus has done literally nothing wrong. Granted, he was a jobber like the past decade of his career, except for when he came over to TNA and actually pinned Daniels, which was, don't even get me started on this. But look, leave the guy alone. Stop trying to ruin his life. He came out with comments that a lot of people agree with. If you don't agree with it, move forward. Now, as many of you know, I hate the WWE. I do not watch the product, can't stand it, whatever. That said, look, I grew up on the WWF, WWE, whatever you want to call it. That's the reason that I got into wrestling. One thing that I do still care about is zany and terrible and unprestige as it can be at times is the WWE Hall of Fame. This past week, it's at least the rumor is that the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith, is going into the Hall of Fame. Amazing. This is a guy that literally deserves it so much. I'm so glad to hear that he has. One of my favorite wrestlers from back in the days. I always feel he's been an underappreciated, undervalued guy throughout the history. Now we just need to get Demolition, Owen Hart, and the model Rick Martel into the WWE Hall of Fame where they belong so that they can be immortalized. So I want to give props out to the late, great Davey Boy Smith, the British Bulldog. Obviously, he's never going to hear this, but his family, if any of you check it out, Props to it, man. So well deserved. I'm happy to hear that. In some All Elite Wrestling news, AEW is actually getting their action figures, which is a big deal for them. Look, I'm 35 years old. I don't play with toys. When I was a kid, though, the action figures, man, I loved collecting the WWF action figures. I remember, like, this was the only toys that I cared about and played with. And it's cool. You know, a new generation kids is going to get this. This is going to help AEW's marketing and everything get going. So props to them. Hopefully they'll see a video game soon and maybe we get some ice cream bars or something else. So props to AEW. We got other news. So speaking of AEW, there's an arena in Cincinnati, Ohio, which is the hometown of one Jon Moxley. The WWE, and actually not the WWE, but the arena that they're trying to go to is actually refusing to allow AEW in there due to their relationship with the WWE. Now, I'm not saying or assuming that WWE fully said, look, if you put AEW in this arena, then we're not coming to work with your building ever again. Granted, that's what WWE did to TNA back in the day, so I wouldn't be surprised if this is the case. It's really sad, that WWE has this pull and leverage, and, I could imagine how big of a show and how big it could be to have Jon Moxley in his hometown of Cincinnati and how big that could be, so it's disappointing. Hopefully, maybe they can find another big arena to do the show there or close by it, but it's just, it's disgusting that the pull that the WWE has, and this is the shit that they've been doing for years, trying to shut these other companies down and out, and it's just a way for them to try and monopolize the business. Now, on top of it, MLW has came out and accused WWE of actually tampering with contracts. Who'd have thought? Wouldn't be the first time the WWE's did something like this. I hope that MLW takes them to court. They say they've got enough evidence to, but they're not going to, or they hope they don't have to. Just bring this fucking monster down. Look, if you don't think WWE is trying to recruit everyone that they can to NXT so they don't end up in AEW or any of these other promotions grow, you're out of your mind. It's exactly what they're doing. They did it with TNA. I'm sure they'll probably do it with AEW. They've had to have probably done it with Ring of Honor if you look at all the people they've scavenged from there. So it's despicable. It's McMahonism at its finest, and that is what it is. So look, I didn't check out the NWA show. I don't watch Impact anymore. So I'm just going to hop into AEW Dynamite. And I got to say, if you watched AEW Dynamite and you are not saying that this was a great show, you've either got an agenda or you don't like pro wrestling. This past week of Dynamite was literally the best 2-hour or episodic, weekly episodic wrestling show that I have seen in at least a decade, I'm sure, in years. This show was fucking incredible. Of course, it did have its downfalls, which was the women's match and the Nyla Rose segment. But other than that, everything from start to finish was amazing. This was a pay-per-view quality level experience, and I just got to give props to AEW for doing it. Started off with the tag team championship #1 contender battle royal, which was won by the Young Bucks. The big thing in this, so the Dark Order kind of interfered. They came through the crowd, talked some stuff up to SCU, mentioned where Christopher Daniels was. SCU gets eliminated, and you see them hop in the crowd to actually brawl with the Dark Order. Now, the thing that they didn't make light of is if you notice in the crowd right next to it was the legendary Raven. Raven is literally a top 5 favorite of mine, probably number 4, number 5. And the Dark Order dude actually on his show mentioned that this was the real Raven, not a cheap knockoff, being me. That said, I'm not a cheap knockoff of Raven. I'm actually a combination of a cheap knockoff of Raven and also of Daniel Tosh, which I fail miserably at both. So I just want to keep that out there. Now, look, we've been speculating. I've been thinking Raven could be part of this Dark Order or the leader of it or at least the manager for all of them, kind of a Raven's flock sort of a thing. Now, I hope that's the case. I know on one of the videos that they did for the Dark Order, it was Raven's voice. Now, this could be AEW trying to troll people and mess with the fans, as the Dark Order did say that the Exalted One is very near while you see Raven, sitting behind him. I think it could be a bit of a tease just to try and get people thinking it is going to be him or part of it. I don't know, or he could be, or some other capacity. Now, we know Raven was backstage. Jimmy Havoc took a photo of himself with Raven. Now, one of the guys that we do the show with has connections, and no, I'm not talking about Hurls' connections that told him Donovan Dijak was signing with Impact Wrestling. No, our boy who has got some connections and has actually became accurate at times, his connection actually told him it's not Jimmy Havoc or Raven. That was all he could really say about it. There's also, maybe his boy was just trying to fool him to, get the speculation out there and keep it an even bigger mystery or surprise. But I could see Raven or Jimmy Havoc being a part of it, or the leadership. My other guesses are going to be either Lance Archer, Luke Harper, or broken Matt Hardy. Now, Matt Hardy is also he's done with the WWE now, apparently. We thought he was done last week, but he came back and apparently got beat up by Randy Orton on TV. Now this Matt Hardy thing, he kind of put out a tease with a capital AEW at the start of his sentence. We also see Impact Wrestling teasing something with Matt Hardy in this ICU thing. I think it's literally between those two companies, and the competition's on. If it's going to come down to money, it seems AEW is probably going to have the advantage there. Creative freedom, it's probably a toss-up. Impact probably give him more of the keys. I don't know. I believe it's between those two companies. It wouldn't be the first time. Look, AEW, it seems like they should be able to sign just about anyone they want that's not going to WWE. That said, it wouldn't be the first time the Impact outdid them, as earlier on this week they actually signed Chris Bray, who has reportedly had Cody Rhodes' interest. Or Chris Bay. So we will see. It's definitely between the two, in my opinion. NWA or Ring of Honor, maybe a long shot, or even MLW. Who knows? And heck, maybe Matt Hardy's just going to go off into retirement. Who knows about that? But we'll see where it goes from there. So, look, the low light of the show, the low light of the episode of Impact, or not Impact, but Dynamite, was the women being on there. Like, I think they have some talented women. I just think they're using the wrong ones or focusing on the wrong ones. We had Chris Statlander defeat Shanna, and I'm going to be honest, I think Shanna is the talent of the two. I think she should be the one they'd be pushing more. You have Awesome Kong and Allie, who I feel should be in bigger prominent roles. Allie's better than just a manager, but I feel Shanna should have been the one to come over. And then we have Big Swole and Statlander confronting Nyla Rose, and I'm guessing maybe it's going to be a three-way match at the pay-per-view at Rebellion. Unfortunately, we got to have a women's match on that card, I assume. I'm also predicting that we have the Dark Order against SCU, and probably what's a six-man match where the Dark Order leader or the Exalted One or whatever it's going to be is going to be revealed in the match. Probably start off 3-on-2. I think they'll probably tease a Christopher Daniels heel turn, kind of like Hulk Hogan turning on the WCW squad. And going with the NWO, as they are teasing the Daniels thing. I don't necessarily feel Daniels is going to be the leader, because I feel they've made it too obvious, but who knows? Maybe we'll see. I expect those two matches to come on the pay-per-view. We had Jon Moxley taking on Jeff Cobb. Taz taking over at commentary, which was a darn good match as well. We saw Darby Allin come out to make the save. I'm expecting a Sammy Guevara and Darby Allin feud. Maybe that gets put on the pay-per-view. Who knows, though? So we'll see where it goes from there. But Darby got a huge pop, man. This guy is over. He's small, but he's over doing the skateboard thing. I think Revolution's really starting to look like a great pay-per-view. Now, we know the Tag Team Championship match is going to be the Young Bucks against Hangman Page and Kenny Omega. Match of the night, early match of the year was Omega and Page taking on the Lucha Brothers. This match was fucking amazing. Oh my God, I still am buzzing about how great this match was. Like, I'm Team Lucha Brothers all the way. My roots are still with Impact, Santana and Ortiz, and the Lucha Brothers are still my teams and my guys. I really, really, really wanted to see the Lucha Brothers win. But man, this match was amazing. I felt going into it, there was 0% chance that the Lucha Brothers were going over. After Omega hit that lariat clothesline, or got hit with the lariat clothesline from Hangman, and the Lucha Bros got him in the Penta Driver, I literally thought it was over. I couldn't believe it. Of course, I was wrong, but just an amazing match, and I just can't get over how good it was. That was the show stealer for me. Although the show was stolen back later, as we had the debut of Wardlow in singles action against Cody in the cage match. Both looked impressive, but the moonsault that Cody did, man, was insane. I think the craziest part about it is he just went up there and just did that moonsault without hesitation. Didn't look to make sure Wardlow was up to catch him or anything. Just 100% trust. Went balls to the wall and went for it. We learned MJF can't trust that untrustworthy son of a bitch, Arn Anderson. Big shock there. I'm sure Arn's going to turn on Cody one of these days too. Because Arn, I'm calling you out, you fat bald-old codger. So's Daniel Tosh. Take the challenge, Arn. Calling you out. But literally, this was the best episode of Dynamite that I've seen so far. These guys absolutely tore it down. I don't know how you can't be excited for next week's show. I don't know how you can't be excited for Revolution, but it's there. We got the weigh-in between Jericho and Moxley. We've got the 30-minute Iron Man match with Pac taking on Kenny Omega. It's just, man, I don't know how they top this past show, but they've got their hands full, and we'll see as we go into Revolution. I'm excited for Revolution. I really hope I end up being able to watch it. My only thing that I was expecting, or kind of expecting to happen, was the potential debut in AEW of A-Double Austin Aries. Now, I'm a big, huge Austin Aries fan. Look, the rumor is AEW is only looking for big guys that can work right now. But look, when the talent comes around, there's some exceptions you need to make. And there's no denying the amazing, incredible talent of A-Double Austin Aries. One of the best workers out there. The guy's charismatic as hell, can cut one hell of a promo. He's funny. Does apparently have a bit of a bad attitude. I mean, hell, I've got someone that's on the current Impact roster even tell me that Aries was an asshole or a dickhead. It was one of those two. One of the two. But, like, man, if the attitude is in check and it's right, I gotta say, I can't wait to see A-Double Austin Aries, the greatest man that ever lived in AEW. If he's going to debut, my guess is it's going to be this next show. I mentioned that Iron Man match with Kenny Omega and Pac. Look, it would make the most sense for Aries to... I know Aries has wanted to continue his feud with Pac. I could see Aries making his debut and maybe costing Pac or interfering or something along those lines, and hopefully even getting it set up for a match between A-Double and Pac at the pay-per-view, because really... Pac is one of the guys they push harder than the most, but he doesn't seem to have any kind of clear path for a pay-per-view match. So, I mean, man, what a show this is going to be, assuming with the three main matches that we know there is. And then we've got Dustin Rhodes versus Jake Hager. If we added Sammy Guevara and Darby Allin and Austin Aries and Pac, I mean, that is a loaded-ass pay-per-view. And I'll guarantee if they ever put this on Blu-ray or DVD, Pac versus Austin Aries is not going to get cut from the DVD release. But look, this is the RVE. I'm just speaking on behalf of the HeelCast. Thank you for anyone that listened to me this week. Check out the AEW Dude show. Check out our past stuff. Check out Dynamite. Check out Andre Corbeil. RVE out. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great night.